Kuberaa, Dhanush's rawest role and a human story hidden behind pennies. One introduction, a star stripped of stardom. In a cinema landscape saturated with heroism, perfection, and spectacle, few actors have the courage to look ugly, feel vulnerable, and embody the invisible. With Kuberaa, Dhanush does exactly that, shedding all traces of his stardom to become Deva, a roadside beggar. From the very first frame, Kuberaa declares itself different. There are no slow motion hero entries, no punchlines, no stylized glamour. Instead, we meet a man curled up near a gutter, flies buzzing around as he silently watches people drop a coin or two into his rusted tin. This isn't poverty porn, it's not designed to evoke guilt. It's a window into the kind of life cinema rarely focuses on, the life of someone we all ignore, step over, or actively avoid. 2. The premise. What if a beggar was the key to a hidden conspiracy? At its core, Kuberaa is a high-stakes drama wrapped in quiet observation. The story follows Deva, a beggar living hand-to-mouth in the alleys and signal points of a sprawling metropolis. His days are repetitive, marked by handouts, leftover food, and the occasional beating by police or pedestrians. But one day, Deva's life takes a dramatic turn when a mysterious government official notices him. Not for sympathy, but for a classified operation that requires someone invisible to the world. The plot thickens as Deva, unknowingly or unwillingly, becomes a pawn in a bigger game involving large sums of money, political stakes, and buried secrets. 3. Dhanush as Deva, a career best performance. There's something quietly astonishing about Dhanush's performance in Kubera. He doesn't act like a beggar, he becomes one. The transformation isn't just physical, though his appearance is raw and lived in, it's spiritual. Every gesture, from the way he walks hunched, avoiding eye contact, to how he protects his meager belongings like treasure, is calibrated yet feels instinctive. The pain in his eyes isn't loud, it's lingering. His silences are louder than words. There's a standout scene early in the film where Deva stares at his reflection in a puddle, brushing away flies from his face. That moment without dialogue says everything about how he views himself, not with shame, but with quiet resignation. This isn't just one of Dhanush's best performances. It's one of the most authentic character transformations seen in Indian cinema this year, far. A different lens on beggars, from pity to perspective. Indian cinema often portrays beggars either as comic relief, fleeting extras, or pitiable plot devices. Rarely do we get to live inside their world, their routines, their tactics for survival, their small victories and deep humiliations. Kuberaa corrects that. It humanizes the homeless not through heavy-handed melodrama but through sensitive storytelling. We see how beggars form communities, create rules, share territories, and even look out for each other. But more importantly, the film compels us to ask, what do we really know about these people we walk past every day? 5. Their role of the government official, savior or strategist. One of the more mysterious characters in Kubera is the unnamed government official who discovers Deva and sets the narrative in motion. He's not a clear-cut villain, nor is he a generous benefactor. His motives are murky, his methods manipulative. This character introduces a central tension in the film. Is Deva being rescued or recruited, empowered or exploited? Rashmika and Nagarjuna, quiet anchors in the background. Rashmika's character, though not elaborated upon in the trailer, provides a softer emotional balance. Her interactions with Deva suggest a deeper connection, perhaps empathy, perhaps shared trauma. Said, minimal music, maximum impact. In an industry where song sequences are often shoehorned into stories, Kuberaa is refreshingly restrained. The film contains just one song, and it's an emotionally resonant, contextually relevant piece. 8. The pacing problem, could it be tighter? At over 3 hours long, Kuberaa certainly tests your patience, particularly in the first half, where some scenes linger a bit too long. While the mood building is necessary, tighter editing could have streamlined the narrative without compromising emotional depth. Framing the marginalized, a cinematic mirror to society. Perhaps the most powerful thing about Kuberaa is how it uses Deva's character as a mirror to society. 10. A clean, family-friendly watch with depth. In an era where films often chase edginess with violence or vulgarity, Kuberaa stands out by being clean, thoughtful, and emotionally rich. There's no swearing, no graphic content, yet the impact is powerful. De Riviere. Kuberaa, a cinematic mirror to greed, grace, and the forgotten poor 11. Visual craftsmanship when cinematography becomes storytelling. From the alleys to the boardrooms, Kubera maintains a high level of cinematic elegance. This isn't a gritty film in the shaky camera sense, but it radiates a realism through its color tones, spatial composition, and camera movement, urban jungle aesthetics. The slums and begging zones are shot in washed out earthy palettes, dusty browns, greys, and muted blues. The tone reinforces the emotional numbness of Deva's world. Contrast this with the slick offices and opulent spaces we later explore. Metallic blues, sterile whites, sharp corners. The visual transition between these worlds reflects Deva's journey from the gutters to power corridors, not as a rise but as a lens to question what power actually looks like. The music of silence, sound design, and score. Kubera's sound design is among its most underrated achievements. Rather than a booming background score, the film relies on natural urban ambience, the hum of traffic, the distant barking of dogs, the muffled chaos of the city. This choice keeps us grounded. When music does enter, especially the soul hauntingly beautiful song, it carries weight, teeth, symbolism, and metaphor layers beyond the literal. Kubera is one of those rare commercial films that dares to be literary in intent with symbols that operate at multiple levels. Deva as Kubera, the richest poor man. Naming the beggar Deva, God, and titling the film Kubera, God of Wealth, is no accident. This deliberate contradiction anchors the film's primary metaphor. What defines wealth? Is it money or is it integrity, empathy, purpose? Deva, though materially poor, is the only character in the film with emotional clarity and moral boundaries. Others may wield power or control funds, but they lack Deva's richness of spirit. K. Deconstructing the narrative, a character-driven structure. Kubera follows a non-linear emotional arc, even if the plot is largely linear. The power of the story lies in Deva's internal transformation, not just his external circumstances. From pawn to player. In the first half, Deva is passive, reacting to events, surviving. But once he begins to understand the stakes, the plot shifts. He becomes an agent of his own story, a man who begins to question, resist, and choose. Teeth, supporting characters, reflections of a broken system. The bureaucrat. The mysterious government official is a personification of the state machine, efficient, strategic, and emotionally detached. He sees Deva not as a human being but as a utility. This cold utilitarian view of human life is what Deva ultimately disrupts, not with rebellion but with quiet resistance. The woman who sees him. Rashmika's character represents the human conscience, the rare person who sees Deva not as a beggar but as a man with a story. Her role is small but significant. She offers warmth in a world of schemes, reminding us that sometimes all it takes to restore someone's humanity is to acknowledge it. The cultural context, poverty, power, and public perception. Kubera isn't just about an individual. It critiques an entire socio-economic structure that classifies people into valuable and invisible. Street poverty as a design flaw. The film subtly points to how poverty isn't accidental, it's engineered. The fact that Deva's invisibility makes him valuable to a corrupt official reveals how systems exploit marginalization. Mental health and dignity. Deva isn't portrayed as crazy or broken. Ian in so dai a made K editing, pacing, and structure, the film's minor weakness. If there's a criticism that lingers, it's the film's first half pacing. Certain subplots feel repetitive or underdeveloped, especially Rashmika's backstory, which deserves more depth. Also, while the suspense builds well, the final 30 minutes rush through multiple twists, denying the viewer some emotional payoff. A tighter edit would have improved momentum and perhaps elevated Kubera from great to masterpiece. 18. Final verdict, an introspective thriller that transcends genre. Kubera is not a typical drama, not a full-blown thriller, and certainly not a hero worship vehicle. It is a socially conscious cinematic reflection, slow-burning, layered, and richly performed. It doesn't shout, it listens. It doesn't preach, it observes. And through it all, it gives us Deva, a character so grounded in truth that he becomes unforgettable. Kubera. Final ratings breakdown, category rating out of 5. Dhanush's performance, story, screenplay, direction, music, background score, cinematography, editing, pacing, emotional impact, societal relevance. Final rating 3.5. 5. Kubera isn't for everyone. But for those who crave substance over spectacle and human stories over hero worship, it's a rewarding, humbling watch.